Keep shooting! Don't let him get away!
I was deafened by the gunshots. The sharp cracks bounced around my skull like someone smashing metal trays against my ears. For a moment, I genuinely thought I was already dead, my brain floating above my body, watching the chaos unfold from somewhere in the clouds. The bullets ripped into my car, shattering the glass into sparkling confetti, and yeah, some of them actually hit me. Everything slowed down as if time itself stepped back and said, "Bro, handle this yourself." The world froze right there on that dusty estate road. Me bleeding, the car smoking, the echo of gunfire fading into a distorted hum. Then everything rewound in my mind like an old VCR tape glitching back to the beginning, forcing me to remember how I even ended up in this madness. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. 3 years. That's how long I'd lived in this estate, long enough to learn one undeniable truth. Karen ran this place like a medieval kingdom, and everyone else were peasants paying taxes. She'd been HOA president for more than 7 years, ruling with pettiness, fines, and threats sharper than her triangular haircut. Homeowners avoided eye contact with her like she was Medusa holding a clipboard. No one ever dared run against her. Not one person, until me. I had enough of her nonsense, enough of her bogus penalties, enough of watching her strut around like she personally built the estate with her bare acrylic nails. So yeah, I decided I was going to run for HOA president and end her reign. My first mission? Dismantling her self-appointed goon squad, the so-called HOA cops. These weren't security guards. No, these were full-grown, delusional men who walked around with real guns like the estate was a war zone and the homeowners were enemy combatants. They loved shouting orders, flexing their fake authority, and randomly stopping people for routine HOA inspections. I told Eric, my next-door neighbor, about my plan. Eric, who always wore slippers no matter the weather, tried talking me out of it. "Don't poke the dragon," he warned. I told him it was too late. My mind was made up. If a dragon needed slaying, then grab me a sword. Before we dive in deeply, let us know in the comments what country or which city you're watching this story from. We'd love to know how far this story travels. After I declared my interest in running for HOA president, I saw something on Karen's face I had never witnessed before. It wasn't anger, it wasn't fear, it wasn't even shock. It was this twisted mix of disbelief and pure insult, like I had just slapped her with a wet fish in front of the entire neighborhood. Her left eye twitched, her jaw locked, and she gave me that fake smile that could curdle milk. I should have known right then that she wasn't going to let this go quietly. A few nights later, around 11:45 p.m., I heard a hard knock at my door, the kind that screams trouble. I opened it, and there she was, Karen, standing in her royal blue robe like a dictator conducting midnight inspections, flanked by two of her so-called HOA cops. One was chewing gum like a cow, the other resting his hand on his gun, like he was practicing intimidation for a movie role that he was never going to get. She didn't even wait for me to greet her. "Are you really sure you want to go against me?" she asked, her voice low enough to feel like a threat wrapped in honey. I told her I was dead serious. That was the moment her smile dropped completely. She stepped closer, so close I could smell the peppermint tea on her breath. "Back down," she whispered, "before something bad happens to you." Then she walked away like a villain, finishing a monologue, her robe fluttering behind her like dark smoke. I stood there confused, angry, and just a bit amused because of how dramatic she wanted to be. After that night, everything changed. The HOA cops started staring at me weirdly whenever they saw me. Not regular staring, no, this was the heavy, suspicious, you're on the list type of staring. They were always stationed at the estate gate, pretending to guard the place, but really observing every move I made. Eric noticed it too and kept telling me to drop out. "Bruh, those dudes give cartel energy," he whispered one day. But again, my mind was set. If anything, their behavior only confirmed that I was threatening her crooked empire. And nothing motivates me more than knowing a corrupt queen is shaking. One Monday morning, after a long, exhausting shift at work, all I wanted was to get home, kick off my shoes, and microwave the leftover jollof in my fridge. But life clearly had other plans, specifically Karen-flavored chaos. As I approached the estate gate, I noticed something off. The road wasn't clear like usual. Instead, an odd pile of tires, sticks, and random debris blocked the path, like someone was trying to create a budget version of a military checkpoint. My first thought was that maybe a tree fell or some kids were playing a prank, but the layout looked too intentional, too neat, too suspicious. I slowed my car and finally came to a stop. The morning sun cast long shadows across the obstacle, and for a moment everything felt too quiet. I opened my door cautiously and stepped 1 foot out. That was when I saw them. On the other side of the barrier, emerging from behind bushes and fences like they'd rehearsed it, the HOA cops came out armed with rifles, actual rifles, and their faces were set with one clear intention. They were ready to fire. It all happened in seconds. One of them shouted something I couldn't even make out. Then the gunfire erupted. The shots cracked through the air like thunder, tearing into my car, blowing out the windows, punching holes into the metal like it was cardboard. Survival mode kicked in instantly. Since they were positioned on the opposite side, I used the car as cover, ducked low, and bolted toward the bush beside the road. Bullets whipped past me, snapping branches and kicking up dust. Pain flared across my arm as a bullet grazed me. Another hit my back, sharp, burning, nothing like the action movies make it look. I stumbled, my vision flickering around the edges. I heard them shouting, running, still firing. I pushed deeper into the bush, but my legs gave out. I fell forward, the world spinning. My breath hitched, everything dimmed, and the last thing I remember was the dirt against my cheek and the distant echo of their footsteps closing in before everything faded into complete darkness. I didn't know what happened next. My body simply shut down. I woke up in the hospital after a few weeks, dizzy, stitched up, and feeling like someone had rearranged my organs with a blindfold on. The ceiling was spinning, the beeping machines felt too loud, and for a moment I didn't even know where I was. Then everything clicked back into place. The gunshots, the chase, the fall, the darkness. Eric sat beside my bed, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 3 weeks. The second my eyes opened, he gasped so hard I thought he'd swallow his own tongue. Nurses rushed in, doctors swarmed me, and I suddenly felt like an exhibit at a science fair. When the chaos settled, Eric leaned close and said, "Bro, everything exploded after they found you." That's when the truth began unfolding piece by piece. A farmer discovered me unconscious in the bush and called for help. Emergency responders took me to the nearest hospital, and once the police heard gunfire was involved, they locked down the entire estate. Reporters showed up, helicopters circled, and the HOA cops who attempted to cover their tracks failed miserably. Karen tried to put on the performance of the century, crying, blaming unknown attackers, even pretending she had warned the community about rising crime. But investigators were already digging into her mess. It didn't take long for everything to unravel. Phone records, secret meetings, financial documents, fake fines, and then the big one, evidence proving she orchestrated the attack. Every officer involved was arrested and charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, conspiracy to commit murder, illegal possession of firearms, and reckless endangerment. Their sentences were brutal but deserved. 45 years each, no parole anytime soon. Karen faced her own stack of charges: conspiracy to commit murder, accessory before the fact, intimidation, extortion, embezzlement, fraudulent use of HOA funds, and abuse of authority. The judge did not hold back. She got 25 years in federal prison, plus restitution so high her entire family tree would feel it. Residents finally spoke out, lawsuits filed, funds recovered. The entire HOA was dismantled and rebuilt from scratch with people who actually cared. The end. Do you think they got what they deserved? Comment below.